Broads Media.
All right, well, that wasn't what I wanted to see. But what I did love was Thursday when you guys joined Coffee with Broads, all of you Broads Media YouTube membership community people. I love you to death. You know it, and I can't wait to talk again on Monday. If you're not aware, every Monday and Thursday, Coffee with Broads is back at 11 a.m. here on YouTube. You got to sign up to our community, $4.99 a month. You get access to that and our Discord channel. All the information is down below in the description. Can't wait to see you Monday. Appreciate it. Love you to death and enjoy the show. Gross loss. Gross loss. I guess we'll have to put a disclaimer here before we start today's show. I am reacting strictly off of just this baseball game that I watched. I'm aware that there are 161 more games. I'm not hitting a full-on panic button where now I don't know if this bullpen can compete at all, or I don't think the top four guys in the lineup will never be able to rake. I'm not making those extreme claims, but when I pour out my emotions in the next half hour, let it be known that I am solely looking at this baseball game and letting you know that I'm frustrated that the Braves came to town game one. You had a 2-0 lead with an electric Brandon Marsh home run, and at the time I thought it was insanely special because Zach Wheeler works out of a jam and there was a threat. The Braves were active, gets out of that in the 5th inning. The Phils get a chance in their 5th inning. Here's Bryson Stott going down 0-2 against Spencer Strider, works an awesome at-bat, gets on base, and then Brandon Marsh pounces. The place was on fire. It was insane until it wasn't. And I won't rip Rob Thompson for this decision, pulling the starter, Zach Wheeler, after 6 innings and 89 pitches. It's opening day. If you get 6 innings and close to 90 pitches, 90, 91, 92, 89 on opening day, and you go to your pen, I have no issue with that. Now, maybe 8, 9, 10 starts into the season, I would like them to push Wheeler to maybe high 90s, and then from there, give him a longer leash. But on the first day of the season, I got no problem with it. Where I have the issue is Matt Strahm sucking, Jose Alvarado sucking, Connor Brogdon even being here on this roster. Those are definitely more conversations to have in my eyes. And I have no idea why you allow Matt Strahm to pitch to Duvall when Hoffman comes in, cleans things up, and keeps it a tie game 2-2. If maybe you go to Hoffman sooner, it's a different spot there. And, obviously the game sort of slipped out of your hands anyway, and it was super non-competitive. But I don't know if things change in that 7th inning, if you make smarter decisions prior to the outcome being 9 runs for the Braves, then maybe things change. I don't know. But I do know that this wasn't good enough. And there was a reason why I wasn't buying into this being the best bullpen in the entire sport. Now, they are going to come up large. They are going to be a good bullpen, but I definitely was not giving them the love and appreciation that some of the baseball world was, because, come on now, that doesn't happen here. I'm sorry. You're a fool if you think that this thing is going to be clean and crisp out of the pen. Of course not. It's Phillies baseball. You go through this type of pain, and until proven otherwise, I am going to believe that they will cause us a ton of trauma, no matter what your name is. Jose Alvarado is a dog. He's a force. But unfortunately today he wasn't, and he caused us a lot of significant time of emotional damage. That's just reality of it. And I need to see maybe a crisp 5, 6, 7 games of relief before I jump all in and say, here we go, baby. We're back. And let's take a look at our top 4 hitters, shall we? Kyle Schwarber, a magnificent 0 for 4. Trey Turner, a magnificent 0 for 4, and a horrendous play at shortstop where I thought we were going to clean up those really bad issues, the fundamental issues. A lot of his errors last season was just a lack of focus, a lack of attention to detail, maybe the stress of living up to the contract, and then the poor performance at the plate, and then that really did snowball into his play on the other side of the diamond. But man, this is just basic fundamental crap that he screws up, and he did it once again, and that bothers me because I really did project him to clean that area up big time. Bohm and Bryce Harper in the early stages made some great Gold Glove plays, which was fantastic. The issue is none of that is relevant after you lose as bad as you do. Bryce Harper 0 for 3, JT Realmuto 0 for 3, and I'm not just saying this now because I saw what JT provided for you, but I said this prior that I believe Alec Bohm should probably be your DH, only because, or excuse me, not your DH, your cleanup hitter, because I think that his ceiling is higher than JT. Nick, I'm not a big believer. I think he just is what he is. I'm done giving the long leash of, hey, if Nick can do, I feel like I know what Nick is. I do. He has the ability to take off. He has the ability to maybe give us something like Rhys Hoskins does, where he had the 1 month and he tears the cover off the ball and he carries you for a little bit of time. But it's going to come with the struggles. It's going to come with the disgusting at-bats. It's going to come with the annoying at-bats. It's not going anywhere. We're in the multi-year part of this process of Nick Castellanos. This is what he is. So I think Bohm could be your most consistent right-handed bat with the ability to drive in runs, with the ability for his power to grow even more. So he gained 7 home runs from 2 years ago to last year. Let that still be a part of his game. So the ceiling and the projection is the highest out of all the right-handed bats on your roster, and you give protection to Bryce Harper. And if any of those guys could get on base in front of him, he can do the most damage compared to JT and Nick. So I actually like the idea of maybe putting Bohm there, and that's sort of what I kind of wanted to see happen anyway, but they stuck with JT, and we'll see what this means moving forward here. But yeah, it just stinks, man, because I was on 1,000 when Brandon Marsh hit that home run. So was he. He almost caught up to Bryson Stott, and you could see that his adrenaline was insane when he was in the dugout and giving the high fives, and CBP was on 1,000, and just out of nowhere, it quickly just evaporated after that 7th inning. What are you going to do? I mean, here's the beauty of Thursday not being opening day and the traditional off day on Friday. You don't have to waste 24 hours. Because if this happened on Thursday and then we had the off day Friday before game 2 on Saturday, we'd have to sit here with that stench in our mouths, that horrible smell of vomit in our mouths for a useless Friday. And then we'd get hit with the Hassan Reddick news, so we'd be sitting in this filth, and then Howie would trade Hassan Reddick for essentially nothing. The only thing that saved me and gave me a little positivity going back to Rhys Hoskins was seeing him piss off the Mets and watching him call them cry babies from the dugout with the slide at second base. Good for you, Bryce. I was calling him Bryce. Good for you, Rhys. I love it, Rhys. You can't take that fire away. You hate that logo. You hate that team no matter where you play, as you should. As you should. So that gave me some smiles. But other than that, it was a pretty awful day for me. I took Brooklyn to see the Easter Bunny this morning. I got a nice fat iced coffee from Dunkin' Donuts. Things were feeling good. I went to Rise Bagels and I got this outstanding cheddar bagel with egg white. High cholesterol, can't have normal eggs. And cheese on a bagel, and I'm like, all right, today's a good day. Today's a good day. A little windy, but we can live through the wind because Phillies baseball is here, and it just got ripped right out of my chest as the game sort of got to the important times. Like, it's important to close out games, and they couldn't. Pitching duel early. Zach Wheeler is disgusting. I mean, these Braves hitters, they can't do a thing against Wheeler. They don't know how. And Strider had a good amount of strikeouts. But we can get to Strider. You saw that. We can gain a lead on Spencer Strider. Sure, he might strike a ton out, but all it takes is one swing. All it takes is Bryson Stott to get on base. Now, the early stages, if we're going to look at everything that happened, Bohm got on. Bryson Stott was after Bohm. And because we know that they're really trying to get Bryson Stott to be more aggressive, selectively that is, but aggressive on 0-0 counts, as soon as Alec Boehm gets on, he ends up hacking away super early in the count, and it's a pop-up to the third base side, and poof, any sort of momentum you could have snagged pretty much went away rather quickly. That was a example of when it will come back to bite you in the ass. Now, I understand that he has to learn how to make this work on a consistent basis, so there's going to be bad times when he swings 0-0. There's going to be good times when he swings 0-0, but I just happen to note that the first time we saw it, it didn't really live up to the hype. All right. Now, here is what I saw from the Braves early on with Wheeler. They tried to attack him and really take some massive hacks early. This is according to Bob Wankel. The batters were 31 for 82, which is a .378 batting average with a .947 OPS against Wheeler on first pitches last season. So obviously the Braves took that and used that to their advantage, or at least attempted to. Wheeler was insane, but you could tell that they were taking huge cuts, and that was their mentality. That was their approach early on. Well, it makes sense. If you see that hitters were sniffing almost 400 against Zach Wheeler last season, which is kind of a crazy thing to think about, but I guess not really, because if you allow Zach Wheeler to get into a groove and you don't swing at the first pitch, most likely you're falling behind in the count because he is so good at his job. Now it's 0-1, now it's 0-2, and you're significantly hurting your opportunity. You're significantly hurting your percentage here to get on base. Imagine being down 0-2. I wonder what the stats are when you're down 0-2 to Zach Wheeler, when you're down 0-1 to Zach Wheeler, when you're down 1-2, 2-2, whatever it is. What your numbers are against Zach Wheeler, period. But yeah, I mean, you could see what they were trying to do early. Here's some other things here in regards to the game. Tim Kelly, he does some things for Bleacher Report, for Phillies Nation. Jose Alvarado was charged with 5 earned runs for 2/3 of an innings of work today. Last season, he only allowed 8 earned runs over 41 1/3 innings pitched. So not a good start for your pen. Not a good start for one of your weapons, too. Sometimes that can mess around with your psyche. That ERA. I remember talking to Ricky Bowe about this. When you're a reliever, now obviously these guys are going to get a ton more work and a ton of innings pitched, but the way that your ERA happened with someone behind you, and it's so up and down, it's constantly moving because of your innings pitched and this and that, sometimes it could take a toll on you. I just hope that seeing those numbers, you got to block it out. You got to wash it out. You can't let it affect you. You got to take the ball the next time you get a chance and mow people down and be insane. All right? Because if I see another bad start from Alvarado, then it's like, okay, what's the third, not start, but an outing. If there's a second bad outing followed up by his first bad outing, and then it's like, all right, what do we get for the third outing? And now we're playing this game, 3 damn outings for your top reliever. Oh, this is good. Here we are. I didn't want to have this conversation today at all. What a world we live in. All right, the Anytime Hotline is rolling, as you can imagine. So we're going to just rock and roll, take some phone calls, let the people react to such a horrible opening day, because don't let anybody tell you otherwise. I think you can find a way to react to this game and not make it seem like when October comes around, this is the exact team you're going to get. This team constantly starts out slow. This team constantly falls behind big time, and then they rally in the middle of the summer, and then they go on this epic 650 win percentage rate, 700 win percentage rate, and take off. So this isn't anything out of the norm. I'm not going to draw conclusions because of this, but you're also allowed to be disappointed. I don't get this. Whoa, how dare you react? No, I'm going to react. That sucked. That sucked. The last time I saw this team play was Game 6, Game 7 at home. Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola against a team they should have destroyed, and they failed miserably. I waited forever to see them take the field again with a bunch of energy surrounding it, and they failed. And they got beat up bad. It was non-competitive to a team that you know is hungry to destroy you, and you let them. I'm supposed to take it? I'm supposed to have no emotion? That's silly. I like to react and ride the ups and downs. Unfortunately, I'm starting off the year with the damn down. How about you get mad at Strom? How about you get mad at Alvarado? Don't get mad at me. I'm just the messenger. They lost. I didn't lose. They lost. I just hate that they lost. That's all. Okay, let's take calls.
Hell, that's not how you want to start a season,
No.
especially against your freaking rivals. God, what annoys me more is that was such a good game up until they took Wheeler out of the game. Like, bullpen, it's called a freaking strike. Please throw them. They are very helpful to our cause. It's only game one, so I'm not losing my head over here, but losing 9-3 on opening day like that, especially when it was that good of a game up until that point, is pathetic. Wheeler should have been left in one more inning. I think he had it in him. I get preserving the bullets going into the beginning of the season, but Wheeler totally should have been left in one more inning. Going to the eighth with a 2-2 game or 3-2 or whatever it was at that point. But here's to tomorrow, I guess.
Well, I don't know if the score would have been 2-2 if you kept Zach Wheeler in. If that's the case, then it would have been a bad decision because you got the same result with Hoffman and with Matt Strom. So if you're getting the same result, then keeping Zach Wheeler in, then the decision to keep him in wouldn't have really made an impact. Therefore, then they didn't make the wrong decision now. If that makes sense. Okay, anyway, I don't mind taking Zach Wheeler out. Like, that's not where this is lost. This isn't Aaron Nola at 60-plus pitches and Gabe Kapler decides to pretty much ruin his entire managerial career based off of that one move. He was never able to recover. Don't tell me about that 100-plus win season with the Giants and always such a good... Stop. Dude's a clown. And his managerial career will be labeled based off of what he did with Aaron Nola. That's not what this is. That's not why they lost. They didn't lose because of this decision today. I'm sorry. It's game one. All right. Managers impact what? 8, 9, 10 games over 162. So we can't. All right. Game one. No. It wasn't Zach Wheeler's fault. I blame execution on your top 4 hitters and execution with Strom and Alvarado. There's going to be things I don't like and decisions I question, but that doesn't automatically cause an effect to you lost because of it, if that makes sense. I don't like that he kept Strom in instead of Hoffman, but I don't think you lost this game because you didn't pull Strom. I get that you can make the argument that, of course, it impacts a game, but if we did it that way in baseball, over 162 for every single decision, we drive ourselves absolutely nuts. And we already kind of do drive ourselves absolutely nuts. Look at what we're doing right now. So you have to sort of find that line. And with me, Zach Wheeler, 89 pitches, of course he could go one more inning. I'd say 99% of the time whenever a manager does take the ball from somebody's hands, walks out to the dugout and points to, or walks out to the mound from the dugout and points to the bullpen for somebody to come. Of course, they have a little bit more juice. They have a little bit more in their arm. They have another inning in them. Yeah, I'd say probably every single time they make that decision, unless you could tell someone hit a complete wall and they're sitting at 106 pitches. They've walked a couple guys in a row and they don't have it anymore. Fine. That falls into its own category. But on day one, you touched just about 90 pitches. You did what you were supposed to do. And you didn't give up any runs. He shuts down that lineup. Guy's ridiculous. Adds another pitch to the repertoire. You see the slow motion of a little split. Ew! Ew! There's your positive. There's your love of the day. Zach Wheeler. Just everything about Zach Wheeler. Had to work out of some jams. No big deal. Get a pop up to the third base. No big deal. No big deal. Couple bleeders. First pitch swinging up the middle at a little chopper. Stop it. That's not going to beat Zach Wheeler. It might beat Strom and Alvarado and those guys. but it ain't going to beat Zach Wheeler. So take your Spencer Strider and shove it. Because Zach Wheeler, come on now. Zach Wheeler over Spencer Strider every day of the week. Let's go to Sean.
Oh, hold on, Hunter. Wait a minute. Oh, Brockton just walked another hitter. Yeah, this was wretched. This was ugly. This was 2 hours of a wasted day for all Phillies fans. You know, Zach Wheeler pitched his ass off, deserved the better fate, you know, but his bullpen let him down. I mean, his offense let him down, too. I mean, when they had a 2-0 lead, where were the tack-on runs? And, again, I'm not going to be overly dramatic with one game, but I got to tell you, Bryce Harper's swing looked very slow today, very slow through the zone. You wonder, and I'll keep an eye on it, if there's residual effects with that back injury he has. But just a wretched performance by the Phillies. Another ass-kicking from the Braves. I guess we beat them when it really counts, but not until then. But you still got a chance to win the series. You got to get the next two.
I'm not there yet with the Bryce stuff. I'm not. Every single day, I'm not going to point out a back thing. The only time moving forward I'll point out a back is, one, if this thing continues where he starts the season off with an 0 for 30 type stretch, and I wonder how is that possible for someone who was so talented and great as Bryce Harper. Or if we see some report that he needs a day off, he's got some stiffness or his back feels tight, then I will apply the back stuff. But as for the hitter maybe not being as smooth as pitchers a day into the season, every time you talk to people and people who played the game, people who have been through these experiences, a lot of the times, first off, pitching is easier than hitting, right? I mean, it is easier for a pitcher to have success than it is a hitter. But for the most part, the pitchers are ahead of the hitter. So if the hitter looks like he's slow through the zone, well, maybe he is. Maybe he is. And maybe that's just the normal projection of a first series of a season. So I'm not there yet with Bryce. And I'm not giving any love to Nick Castellanos for an RBI in the 9th inning either, by the way. His 1 for 4 is no. No, I don't give him any love for his 1 for 4. Rojas walked. I know that got people pumped up. Nothing screams, hey, we got baseball back, than watching Marte throw an inning. 15 pitches too many, may I add, that I had to watch Marte take the bump. These are the type of things that irritate me. It's just the truth. All right, let's take another call here.
Hey, Broads. Long-time listener, first-time caller here.
Thank you.
Dude, here we go again, man. I mean, Jesus. We can't win, I get that, the season with, the first game of 162, but holy shit, this is so typical early season baseball as of late for the Philadelphia Phillies. I mean, Wheeler's cruising, we're getting to Strider again, and the bank is rocking, the vibes are immaculate, and what do? Here comes Rob going with Strom and Hoffman out of the pen in the 7th, and the pen that's supposed to be one of the best in baseball, as we keep hearing from all these people around the league. And what do we follow it up with? 2 innings, right? Not even I don't even know what, a bigger sample, but through that 2 innings, they gave up 7 hits, 5 walks, which equated to 9 runs. It was like a little league game out there, man. Walk after walk after walk with the bases loaded, free runs. Like, it was seriously like you're watching the qualifiers of the Little League World Series. And there's some team from, I don't even know where, Connecticut, that's getting stomped by Tom's River or something like that. It was unreal. Unreal. And then not to mention the quote-unquote big money guys who struggled heavily last playoffs, which is why we were where we were. I'm talking Schwarber, Turner, Harper, JT, Cassie. Now, I get Cassie had a, throwaway RBI there in the 9th, but a combined 1 for 18. 1 for 18 with 1 walk and 10 strikeouts. I think the whole team only struck out like 13, 14 times. 10 of them were those guys. Our offense was literally Alec Boehm and Brandon Marsh. It's just hard to watch. I know, again, game 1 of 162, but it was just, I wish it would be different. They say it's going to be different, and it was not different. Super frustrating.
Hey, man, by the way, thank you so much for the love, and I appreciate the phone call. Don't be a stranger. Would love to hear from you again. That was high-quality stuff, and I'm with you. They put an emphasis on we are going to change things this season with the start. Now, they could very well still win this series, and they could still start off hot. I mean, they do have a favorable schedule this first month, really. I don't want to do win-loss, win-loss, win-loss. But after the Braves, and once we roll into April, you play the Reds, you play the Nationals, you play the Cardinals, you play the Pirates, you see the Rockies, you see the White Sox, you see teams that are beatable. The Angels are at the back end of the month as well. So there are very favorable matchups, and this one's going to stick out more because it's a hated rival, and there's a lot of, right now, words being thrown around. Brian Snicker goes, I don't want to talk about what I said about an interview that my family doesn't feel comfortable here. Shut up. You're a loser. That's my take on it anyway. But yeah, I mean, there's just so much hate between these two teams, so this is going to stick to us more. If you beat the Pirates, whoop-de-fucking-do, you lost to the Braves. That's just sort of how we think around here, and that's the way our motor goes because, well, I don't want to lose to I don't want to lose to Acuna. I don't want to lose to Riley. I don't want to lose to Freddie Freeman. I want to lose to guys that can smoke a billion doubles in a game and makes me pissed off. I don't want to lose to them. I don't want to lose. So it's going to hold more weight when it's a team in your division where you're trying to actually win the division for once. But if you claim that the big difference from years past to this year is Joe Girardi's no longer here, no World Baseball Classic, we don't have to worry about guys who can't come over and start the spring training the way we want them to. So getting them back into this country and throwing and with the Phillies in spring training, everything's going right here and putting such a big emphasis of starting quicker. And if you don't, well, that's going to upset me because there wasn't much you needed to work on from last season to this season. There are, don't get me wrong, little individual things. JT's working on his own stuff. Schwarber's trying to go the other way, not pull it as much. Didn't really see any of that outcome today. But yes, guys individually have to work on stuff for sure. But in regards of the full body of work over 162 from an overhead level, one of the key things they had to do from last year and the year before to this year is just start out better to put you in a better position so maybe you can win the division, set up your rotation, have two teams competing prior while you're sitting back and relaxing waiting for them. You're not as tired as they are. Guys like Schwarber last year breaking down, are they fully healthy? You don't got to worry about that. Bryce Harper's back by the end of the season. He gets a whole wild card series off. You don't have to worry about that. That's important, and you can set yourself up better. And if you're going to make that such a big emphasis, which you should and which you did, and if you don't actually execute, then yeah, that's going to upset me. And so far, they lost game one, and they lost game one in such an ugly way that it is fair to go, I thought we were going to change that. So we'll see how it goes moving forward here. We'll see. Should I take one more? What are we at, about 28 minutes or so? Yeah, why not? I mean, look, the phone lines were flooded today. I love it. I appreciate it. I love getting the instant reactions after games. So keep it up for sure, all you fantastic people out there. All right, let's take one more.
Like I've been saying for months and months, the Phillies are not going to be any good this year.
Well, come on.
They're not. Losing Reese. Now, mind you, that wasn't the problem today. Pitching is the issue.
They didn't have Reese.
Hasn't it always been? I mean, since like 2020?
They didn't have Reese.
I remember when, the lockout season, we were like the worst bullpen, like only to like one other team in like 1865 or some shit.
Yeah.
We are boomer bust bats with mediocre at best bullpen. Zach Wheeler, I'm sorry, bud. We embarrassed you. And Topper, put him in until his fucking arm gives out. See ya, birds.
That's stupid, though. You want Rob Thompson to wear out our best pitcher day one. No. That's dumb. We didn't have Rhys Hoskins last year, and you should have won the NLCS and gotten to the World Series. And I thought even without Reese that you were the best team in baseball and you just failed. I thought that they could have beat the Texas Rangers in a 7-game series. And maybe it would have went 6 or 7 and you were up to speed with Texas and it would have been a hell of a matchup and an insane battle. But without Reese, you were able to do that. Yeah, now that is an example of maybe going too far with it all. Saying the Phillies won't be any good, well, that's crazy. You've been saying it for months that the Phillies aren't going to be good? And I don't know what team doesn't try to mash bombs. The people that get upset that all they do is hit homers. Yeah, that's what teams who are great do. The teams that are great, Yordan Alvarez hits home runs. Jose Altuve hits home runs. Alex Bregman can hit home runs. Guys hit home runs. The Texas Rangers can hit home runs. They won the World Series last year. I hate the fact that we act like because a team is going out there with the idea of mashing, that's baseball. If you play small ball in today's era, you know what you are? A bad baseball team. Now, if you go to the 2022 home runs by teams, I just want to throw this out there, or 2023, excuse me. Forgetting what years are going on. So last year's team, the Braves obviously had a historic run. The Dodgers had a phenomenal season as well, hitting a bunch of home runs. The Texas Rangers were 4th in Major League Baseball. The Houston Astros in 2023 were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in all of baseball. The Tampa Bay Rays were 6th in all of baseball. If you're in the same category as the Tampa Bay Rays and you're flirting around that, then you're in a good spot for sure. And the Phillies were right after that. So being in the same conversation as the Braves, Dodgers, Astros, Tampa Bay, the Texas Rangers, the Phillies, that's good company. And that was last year's team. The Diamondbacks being at the absolute bottom is an outlier. You don't want to build like them. They were around the Oakland Athletics, the Miami Marlins, the Chicago White Sox, the Boston Red Sox, the Milwaukee Brewers, the Detroit Tigers. That's where the Arizona Diamondbacks were at in regards to home run. That is not a way to build your team, what happened last year, just because they were able. The Phillies lost that themselves, and it was big, and it was monstrous, and it's bad. But the way they're built isn't bad. They just have to execute better. Their execution was poor. The idea behind the way they're built, not poor. Got to be able to separate it. But anyway, I digress. That's where we're wrapping up today's show. So this weekend's going to be a little different for me because it's Easter. I work on WIP Sunday night. Saturday, I got tickets to go to the Flyers game, and the Phillies play at 4. Flyers are at 7. So the way I think this is going to go is I will have my next Phillies podcast Sunday night around midnight to recap what happened Saturday and Sunday. I think. I hate putting expectations on when an episode's going to drop, but I'm just trying to sort of visualize my weekend. I think that's when I'll talk Phillies next. So just a heads up if you're looking for it. So I appreciate it, you guys. Love you to death. Can't wait to talk again soon. Hopefully better circumstances, please. Appreciate it. Talk to you guys then.